The most common question that I have for people that are just starting is they say, how do I pick the right instruments for sound healing? Well, of course, the most important thing and the number one barrier is going to be your budget, okay? Almost everybody knows that every sound bath practitioner should have crystal singing bowls. That is the most popular instrument, it's the most relaxing instrument, and it is basically the cornerstone of what makes a sound bath practitioner what they are. A lot of people, they think, well, I kind of also want to get Tibetan bowls because Tibetan bowls, they don't break. That's great. However, Tibetan bowls are not as powerful. They are not as appreciated. If you want to look up Google SEO, just do a back search and you'll be able to see very quickly how much more popular crystal singing bowls are than Tibetan bowls, and even than gongs. So the most important thing aside from this, your budget, is how much stuff do you actually want to pack up when you go somewhere. Some people, they may have a big van or they may have a truck. Yeah, but do you want to pack that whole thing up? I don't. I own a lot of instruments, and you know what I want to have? I want to have a hand pan or a tank drum on my back. I want to have this handful, and I want to have this handful, and that's all. I don't want to bring anything else. I also live in an apartment, so I make sure that everything that I bring, I'm only making one trip when I'm going down the elevator. That is a very, very effective thing for you to do. So what are some small instruments that you can integrate? Well, one of my favorite is a 9-bar swinging chime. 9-bar chime looks like this. This is a very beautiful and simple to play instrument. Takes no effort whatsoever. Another thing that you can integrate is a hand drum. The Remo Comfort Series drum, I have absolutely no affiliation with them and I earn absolutely no money off of it. But I would suggest the 22-inch drum. It is an extremely powerful drum that the other thing that you're going to notice with every instrument that I suggest is something that you can walk through the space handheld, so you can bring as close to your participants as possible. The other things that you can integrate are smaller handheld chimes. You can use Koshi chimes, but Koshi chimes do not fill up an entire space very well. They're extremely quiet. What I prefer are handheld wind chimes. I do have them on my shop, and I do actually include every single one of these instruments except for the Remo drum on my program. Now, once you've got your core instruments down, I always suggest that you choose a specialty item. Specialty item could be a hand pan. It could be a didgeridoo. It could be a flute. It could be anything else that takes a little bit more effort and a little bit more skill to play, because anyone can play these bowls in about 10 hours of practice. Anyone can play this chime in about 2 hours of practice. So to make yourself stand out at least a little bit, add some instruments, and you can always add additional instruments from there, because the more variety that you can bring into your sessions, the better. Another thing that you should be looking into is how to bring variety into your sessions. My favorite way for that is to start incorporating backing tracks, because what you can then do is have more with less. So you just have 2 speakers and you bring them into your session and you play whatever instruments with them in the same key. I include backing tracks in my program. You can contact me for that if you'd like, or you can find whatever backing tracks that you like elsewhere. So that is how you create a massive amount of variety with a small amount of instruments. The other thing that I would do is be very, very wise with whatever money you are earning from your sound baths. Hopefully you're still working a full-time job or a part-time job, and all of the money you're earning from your sound baths, you're reinvesting into your sound baths until you have around $10,000 worth of instruments. Let's put it in that category, okay? So once you're at 10K, you are stacked. You have everything that you're ever going to need at that point, and anything else that you do decide to buy is just gravy. This instrument right here is something that you can be placing directly onto participants. This is going to be what I consider a luxury item, but it should be one of your first luxury items, because you can be giving people a more powerful experience by placing the bowl directly onto them. If you already own a Tibetan bowl, you can also just get the attachments so that you can be doing this, having the handle and placing it directly onto people. So all of these different things that I'm explaining to you right now are very, very beneficial. The next thing that you're going to want to do, might be thinking, how am I going to get this to 10K? The things that I've expressed thus far, even if you bought every single one of them, including a hand pen, you aren't even at 10K. Well, the next step that you want to do is get a full set of bowls. If you get a full set of bowls, you are now in the business of sound healing. I never suggest starting with a full set of bowls if you cannot afford it. If you can afford it, that is basically the first thing that you should do, because that is going to be able to fill up the majority of your session. A good 30 minutes I spend of an hour with the bowls, or I spend a good hour of a 2-hour session with the bowls, and I usually end with the bowls, so it's more like an hour and 15 or so. Then everything else is integrated throughout it. But I am including this as part of the bowls because I play my 5 or 8 or 10 bowl set from one position, and then I walk through the space with this bowl, and I walk through the space with this bowl, therefore giving people that intimate one-on-one experience, which is, of course, very powerful. So when you're starting out and you're getting your instruments, you are starting with your budget. You're starting with things that you can walk throughout the space using so you can get them as close as you can to people so that you can give them the proximity effect so that they can feel like the session is even more powerful. Then you're playing with backing tracks as soon as you possibly can and getting used to that process so that you can create as much variety as you possibly can. And then from there, you're adding whatever instruments that are going to make you a specialist. And then you're adding a full set of bowls whenever you can afford it, or budget is no issue, then you get those right away. And you are in the business of sound healing. At that point, you can do sound baths wherever you like, wherever you want to go, and feel absolutely confident that you are stacked up well against every other sound bath practitioner, maybe even more so. I hope this video is helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.